Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a walk around on our new Springbar Vagabond tent. So this is actually our second time taking this one out, and I have to say I'm really impressed with it so far. It's completely different than the Alpha Breeze in just about every way, and I'm going to show you what I mean. From the fabric, to the setup, to the weight of it, to everything basically is completely different, and it's not and I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's actually all in good ways. They're both good, and they both have like their differences in really good ways, which is really interesting. So that's actually one of the reasons why I actually picked this tent, because I knew it would be a really interesting comparison between the Alpha Breeze, a really good tent already, and something completely opposite of it, this Springbar right here. So this is the Bison color. It's like a dark grayish brown. And you can see, so in order to set this tent up, actually, you have to stake it first. And my biggest mistake was I was so excited by the creek view that I didn't even notice there was a stump right here in the ground, so I couldn't even stake one of them in. I actually just unstaked that one because it was pulling it weird and I couldn't open the door. So I left these two out on, that was my bad. But it still works just fine. But yeah, you have to stake this one in the ground. I think there's 12 stakes on this tent too. And you have to stake them all the way into the ground too for it to work correctly. So that's something to keep in mind. It's not like the Alpha Breeze where you can get away with, you know, staking it somewhat. I mean, you're probably always supposed to stake it all the way in, but it is some work to stake all these into the ground, especially in rocky ground. But you can see how vertical these walls actually are from out here. I mean, they stand pretty much straight with the tent. So yeah, the first night we took this out was like 2 weeks ago. I didn't put a video up or anything like that because it was just so windy out. I mean, I don't know, at the bottom it said it was 15-mile-per-hour winds, but we went up really high in elevation and got this campsite way up top on literally the top of a hill. And I don't know, I mean, it was blowing so hard my tripod flew like across side of the hill from me and I had to go and retrieve it. So yeah, I didn't really get a video because it was just so windy out. I couldn't even set up the tarp or anything. I was literally just like cooking behind my car trying to like shelter myself from the wind. But the tent, I had no doubts. I mean, it was incredible how quiet it was and comforting it was inside of there. I mean, we literally just huddled up inside the tent that whole day and night, and the wind did not stop till like 4 in the morning. And I remember just the dead silence. I woke up, I was like, it's over. It's so quiet now. It was such a big difference, but I mean, the tent held up so well. I mean, you could see it like inflating and stuff like that from the wind just hitting it so hard, but it was really quiet. It wasn't like a smack of the wind like you would hear in other tents. It really mutes the sound, which is really cool. So here, take a look at the back of the tent. There's that window. I love that you can't see inside of the tent actually. See, that's what I meant. I mean, you can, but it's really dark. I don't know about from the camera. The camera actually looks like you can see in, but from out here, it's like it almost has like some privacy from the angle. Maybe if you look straight on, let's take a look. Yeah, if you go more straight on, you can see right through it. Maybe this is true with all mesh, and I've just never noticed it. I don't know. It looks more private to me, especially when the light's hitting it. It's probably true with all mesh though. So yeah, let's look inside. So yeah, I went ahead and got the footprint with it also, and wow, that is the heaviest duty footprint I've ever felt. So that, I guess that was really my first impressions with all this stuff was, wow, this is really heavy duty. It's basically the theme of this tent all around. It's just a really solid, heavy duty tent. And this was also extra. This is just like their little floor doormat. It buckles in, which is kind of nice, so it's not going to go anywhere. You can also stake it. I just left it unstaked, but it has these loops also, so if it was really windy out, you could probably want to do that. So yeah, to set this one up, you just try and make it as square as possible, and you just set up all the stakes first, and then you put in your, I don't know if I can see it, you put in that top pole into these two rod style poles, and then at the very end you just pick this pole up and lift it. It's probably like maybe 2 minutes to set this whole thing up. It's really quick. I didn't really need any instructions. I just watched the YouTube video one time and I was able to set it up literally in like minutes. So I really can't believe how easy this is. It's probably the easiest tent to set up that I've ever come across so far. It's definitely the easiest ground tent to set up that I've seen. Other than it's really heavy to carry and it's heavy to handle, so that's something to keep in mind. All the materials from the poles to the tent are extremely heavy, so much heavier than any other traditional tent. I was debating on getting the classic jack for like a week actually. I was like I should just get the classic jack. It's gonna be bigger, it's 10 by 10. It has that front awning, and I'll be able to extend down the sides. But then I was thinking, you know what? I wanna try a tent that's like super simple, very similar size to the Alpha Breeze. And honestly, from now on, I'm always gonna be bringing a tarp with me. So Springbar actually has their own tarp, which is more of I'd call it actually a shelter. I think it actually is a shelter. And that one looks pretty interesting also. It's the same setup as the tent, so I might pick one of those up later also to compare that. That's probably really good for when the mosquitoes and bugs are out, because you can actually put on these zip-on window panels, or door panels, I guess. So might add that one to this and try it out also. But I actually really like the Hexa tarp with it. I think it looks really cool. Okay, so Emmett wants to know, what do you want to know, Emmett? Emmett says that looks just like me. Maybe in like 20 years, Emmett. Come on. What do you guys think? Do you agree with Emmett? Does that look like me? Yeah. So another really cool thing about the Springbar tent is there's no guy out line, so you don't have to worry about tripping over ropes anymore or anything like that. This one is literally just contained by itself with the wind based on their pole structure. Really smart design, and honestly, I never really liked using those guy out points anyway, just because I always tripped on them. If I was ever out in conditions where I thought it would be necessary, I would totally use it. And there was times where I've taken it out, like I didn't realize it was gonna snow or something like that, and I didn't use it. So that's probably the smart thing to do, is always use them. But to be honest, I found myself not using them just because, you know, they get in the way in the campsites. Unless you have a huge area, they're gonna get in your way. So I really like that this one doesn't require any guy out points, or it doesn't even have any guy out points. Yeah, so this is definitely one of our favorite camp spots. I mean, alongside this creek is really just amazing. It is really loud, but in this tent is actually really quiet. So yeah, this is an 8-foot by 10-foot tent. It's a little bit bigger than the Alpha Breeze, not by much actually, but it actually does feel quite a bit larger. So whereas the Alpha Breeze slopes down from the center on to create that A-frame design, this one is completely, not completely, but almost completely like vertical, the walls. So this has a really high standing height. I think it's 6'7". Yeah, so this tent has these hooks all around the top of it, these metal loops. And you could hang like cording if you wanted to put like lights across. You can see there's one big back window on this tent. It doesn't open up, so it's not like a door or anything like that. It actually just comes up partially there. And you can roll that fabric down and tie it. There are no like dedicated ventilation spots like on the Alpha Breeze top corners, which I actually liked having. So in front of the tent we have just a little bit of room, not very much, nothing really usable. This is the entryway here. We have the front door. So this front door is going to take some getting used to. It's not like the Alpha Breeze at all, or any other tent actually that I've used. So there's this little system that they have here where you zip straight down, and then you have to open up these both directions basically so you can get out. I don't like this, and my wife actually really hates it because it does take a little bit more time to open and close. So I really like how they went with like a natural fabric on the ceiling. It just creates a really nice environment inside. And I love the dark walls with that light coming through on top. It just looks incredible here in the daytime. And having all this headroom means you can actually spend time in here and have a really good time inside your tent, and it's really comfortable. So the Alpha Breeze also had a ton of room to move around for us, and we didn't have any issues with that either. But this one, just having the ceilings and the vertical walls like this, it creates even more space, and it's almost like if a tent were a cabin. This is basically as close as it would get, I would say, is this one here. So yeah, all the fabric on this tent is super heavy duty. I mean, the zippers too. I mean, I have to show you guys these zippers. Hold on. So these are the biggest YKK zippers I have ever seen. I mean, they feel extremely durable, and I've actually never come across... Oh, speaking of these zippers. Okay, so when it's windy, these zippers will go on all night long, and you will hear this rattling sound of the metal hitting the metal like that all night long. Basically, you'll hear that. So I have to look up a fix for that. If any of you guys know a fix for that, let me know. I'm thinking of just putting like maybe some silicone or something around, like, I don't know. I have to figure something out to get them to stop rattling. Because yeah, those zippers can make some noise in the wind, and it's really noticeable at nighttime. So let me just get you guys some shots of the inside really quick to give you an idea of the size of it. Yeah, there's a lot of room in this tent, and it's not their biggest tent either. They have 10 by 10s, which are probably more popular. It's their classic jack tent. They even have a 10 by 14 tent, which is massive. Personally, I like to go as small as I can get where it's still really comfortable. That's my goal with tents. I don't like to go overly large or anything like that because it's usually more work, not only to set up, but it's just, I don't really need it. I don't really need all that space out here for a weekend. So I'd rather create a more usable small space that's, you know, and that's really all we need, honestly, when we're out here. This is more than enough for us. Yeah, that back window is incredible, especially when you have like such a nice view. This creek is so nice. In the summer, you can actually go swimming if you go further up in it because it's a lot calmer. Yeah, those of you who are in Washington or Oregon, make sure you check this place out. It's Graves Creek in the Olympic National Park. When we got here, we were the only ones here. Today, everyone showed up. I guess the sun brought everyone. But yeah, you can see we're right along this cliff, which is really nice. Have this whole beach area to ourselves. It's all part of the same campsite. Down there is actually the next campsite, so they have that side. But yeah, we're really liking this tent a lot. I mean, it's so different than the Alpha Breeze in every way possible, actually. I mean, there's no rain fly in this, so that's already pretty different. Setting it up is also quite a bit different. There's no really there's poles, but there's not like poles that you clip in or anything like that. This one's completely different on setup. This one, the fabric it's just so heavy duty, and that's a good thing because that helps deaden the wind. It's going to be more durable. It's going to last a really long time. So I'm okay with that weight, but honestly, I wouldn't go with any bigger than this size because it's just going to get to the point where it's so bulky and so heavy. So the floor on this tent is actually this like vinyl material. So it's a vinyl floor, which is probably pretty good for withstanding like sharp rocks, stuff like that. I haven't been in the rain in this one yet, but I imagine it's going to be really good, just like everyone has said. This one's kind of one of those tents. It's been tried out, and you know, people have taken this one in all kinds of conditions. So I already went in knowing that it's going to be good in all types of conditions like that. But it's just interesting coming from like the Alpha Breeze to something like this because it's a complete opposite style of tent in terms of like just materials, design, everything about it is different. I did like on the Alpha Breeze those windows all around it. Alright guys, well that pretty much is going to wrap it up for this one. I have to say, like, after just 2 uses on this tent already, I'm really impressed with it so far. If I had to just highlight like 2 of the main things I noticed right off the bat that I really like about this one, it has to be the super quick setup time on this. I mean, it literally takes minutes and it's so easy. The hardest part is staking it in, and once that's done, the whole thing is just up, and it's all one person setup, which is really cool. And the second thing has to be just the high quality craftsmanship. I mean, all around this tent is just well made, from the fabrics to the stitching. It's all handmade actually in the US, which is really nice as well. It's just a really high quality product, and I know, like, I can feel on this one from the zippers. I've never felt YKK zippers this tough. I mean, this has to be the highest grade of zipper they make, probably. It's literally like the thickest zipper and the heaviest duty metal I've seen for a zipper. So I can tell, like, all around this tent is gonna last, like, just as promised too, because all over the internet you can see, like, people have had these tents forever basically. A lot of people still have their original ones, and I already knew going into this one it was gonna be a really high quality product. But after using it just a couple times now, I can attest to that quality standard, and it's still today, like, this thing is built like a tank. So there's no doubt about quality on this tent at all. Same goes for Snow Peak tents as well, but they're just completely different tents back to back. So yeah, if you guys have any questions at all, make sure to comment down below and we can always chat about it. And yeah, we're excited to take this one out on more trips. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.